I just literally got my knife and stuck him, and he was still, he said it was life or death, man. So I just kept sticking him, and it killed him. He didn't mean to, but he was self-defense.
Okay.
So
gotcha. Well, he thought it was self-defense, but he got convicted to total of 28 years, or did he die in
for
prison?
different things. That only
Okay.
he's been in and out, and violated parole, had to go back.
Yeah.
So it was in and out quite a bit.
Welcome to Creepalachia. We are diving into the artistic world, and also we're talking about some outlaws who became artists. And I'm so excited to be joined by actually 4 individuals, 3 on mic, that are doing some amazing things. We have Benny and Ella Dunfee here to tell us about outlaw artist Billy Foster, which we'll get into. And we have Jose Rizo, who has helped curate some art shows, and they're producing a documentary with Matt Bickey, who y'all can't see, but I can see, and that's all that matters. But let's just go from left to right. Let's start out with you first, Benny. Tell me about yourself, and we can get into Billy in a minute. But I'm curious about you. How did you get into art?
Well, I've always been have love for art in school and everything. And I was a coal miner, retired coal miner, and I met Billy at the country store and got talked to him and started collecting his art. So it's been like 32 years. I got like 160 some pieces.
Oh, wow.
Billy's work. It's been a journey. What I like about fine art, a lot of it's got different quotes, like this picture right here. Outlaw artist Billy Foster. That's a self-portrait of himself.
Uh-huh.
And on the back of it says, "I'll come back to wreck this freaking butcher shop, kiss all the girls, and drink all the shaving lotion. I have spoken." Outlaw Billy Foster, 1980 when he painted that.
So he just wide open. Show it at the mic there so people can see. You can hold it right there at your mic, and then people can kind of see that picture.
Here?
Yeah, turn it around. Turn it around there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hey, there it is. All right. So what kind of art style does he have, would you say? What would you call this?
Well, he done a lot of self-portrait, a lot of landscaping, coal mine scenery, Native American, different styles. He done leather work, for instance, like this piece right here. Yeah, if you don't mind me showing you.
Sure, yeah, go right ahead.
Really cool piece here. This is Sparky. He's tooled out on pigskin.
Nice.
I think it was 1986.
Okay, and for those listening, we have a guy in an electric chair. At what prison was this?
That was Moundsville State Penitentiary.
Oh, okay.
So he just done his own version of the electric chair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's
done
incredible.
His own version of. Actually, I found this in a guy had an attic at his house. I built him a carport.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "I got one of Billy's pieces." I said, "Really?" It didn't surprise me. And he was going up the stairs getting his wife hollered, "Hacky, I wish you get rid of that thing." I was like, "Oh yeah." So I traded him 2 prints for it, coal mine picture. He was happy. But I treated him right. I built him a nice carport and done a lot of stuff for him. But
nice.
A lot of stories about getting this art, stuff I've been through.
Yeah, which we'll get into. Let's get into Ella first. So how'd you meet this guy? I'm curious.
I met this guy about 5 years at the courthouse. He came in to pay his taxes, and I waited on him.
Perfect.
And we've been together, I guess, about 5 years. Been married for 2 years in October, so...
Well, how beautiful. Okay. How did he propose? Can I go ahead and ask that? I figure there's a story there. Or I'd say just said, "Ella, let's go to the courthouse and figure this thing out."
No, he kept on aggravating me, asked me to marry him, and then kept on aggravating me to go get the license. And I kept saying, "I don't know about this. I don't know about this."
Yeah.
So finally, I said, "Okay, we'll go get the license." And we got over there to get the license, and he asked him over there, said, "When can we get married?" And they told him, "Well, you can get married today. Today's free Friday." He said, "Let's do it." I said, "Oh."
A discount? I mean, what could be better? And then
free. I feel so bad about it. I went back and gave the guy $20. So I said, I said, "This is my wife, my $20 wife." The best investment I ever made.
I mean, yeah, do that. Go to Dairy Queen, get some chili dogs.
Right.
Or ice cream cone.
Ice cream cone. I mean, that's all you need. Happiness. Well, that's great. So, how do you keep this guy straight? Like, what's your role in this whole thing exactly?
Just to get him to calm down and slow down and I work with him, work on the computer and do a lot of the paperwork and things that need to be done. And it's hard to keep him calm down though.
Yeah. So how did he come to you with this idea about Billy?
Well, actually, when I first saw the paintings, I was just amazed and in awe of them. And then when we started working on an art show and I learned more about the story and it was heart-wrenching, really heart-wrenching that someone with that much talent never got to enjoy what he put forth. It was sad. It's very sad.
I got you. I'm looking forward to learning Billy's story, for sure. And before we do that, Ella, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but we'll get into Jose here. Introduce you, sir. Well involved in the art community,
Yes, sir.
How did you come about? Meeting Benny and Ella, and you and Matt figuring this stuff out.
Well, I've actually known Benny for 30 years now. I actually used to work at the Rio Grande in Oak Hill when I was about 16 or 17 years old. And him and our good friend Larry Ballinger used to come in there. And I actually didn't know that he was an art collector. And we were just friends since then. We kind of, I moved to Princeton and then back to Beckley. And I don't think I saw you for about 10 years. And then one day I was actually working the gallery at Love, Hope in Fayetteville. And he came in. I think he had a piece or two of Billy's work. And of course, being involved with the local art galleries, I saw the work. I hadn't heard much about Billy's work, and I can just see how passionate Benny is for his friend's work. Mm-hmm. So he told me that there had never been a show about his art at a gallery. So I made it my mission to kind of share his collection, share his friendship with Billy, and the story of them knowing each other. And as an art collector, we don't have a whole lot of well-known West Virginia artists, and I really think that Billy Foster is a very great artist, and his story is fascinating. The whole prison angle, and that he used art as a means of survival, I thought was fascinating. And in art collecting, sometimes the artist's story is just as important as the art itself. So it's definitely a story that needs to be told. And I'm glad that in the last 2 years, we've actually put together this upcoming show will be 4 shows of Billy Foster's work throughout the state.
Awesome. And this show's airing a little bit after the first one, which is on July 19th.
Yeah, but the art show will actually be at the Beckley Arts Center. It'll be open on the Thursday, which I think is the 17th.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So you'll be able to see his art there. But the documentary will be the 19th at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then also the following Saturday, the 26th at 5 o'clock as well. And then the art show at the Beckley Arts Center will be going on until the end of the month.
Let's go. So get your butts down there. Check out this artwork. It's absolutely fabulous. First, I think, tell me before we get started, Jose, how did you and Matt get together and hey, let's make a movie? Yeah,
so Matt has been a friend of mine for a long time. And obviously the Bickey name is pretty well known in the area for business, but also for the love of art and helping the arts. Of course, his mom and dad's name is on the Beckley Arts Center. So I knew that Matt had a love for art, and he actually let me use one of his buildings for my art shows about 1.5 years ago. So that's kind of how we got involved in the art scene together. And what I didn't know was that he was a film major in college, and me and Benny had been talking about doing, like a book or something, or a documentary about Billy Foster's story. And Matt kind of volunteered to help us with it. So that's kind of how he was brought along.
Shoot, yeah. Well, thank you for being here, Matt. No one can hear you, but we can see you. And everyone knows, like Jose said, the Bickey name is huge in Southern West Virginia, instrumental in why we have a lot of the arts and culture we do. We got the beautiful Raleigh Playhouse and Theater downtown Beckley. Highly suggest you go and check out a show there. I've saw several. All right, let's get into Billy Foster. So let's go with the Outlaw side first and kind of set the scene for people who's listening. Like, what's going on? How did Billy where did Billy grow up? How did he end up going to prison?
He grew up in Johnson Ranch in Fayette County, in my town. And, he just took the wrong path in life. He had no father figure. And he's like breaking in and just doing dumb stuff. So he ended up going to prison. And he was doing art before then. I found one he had done on sheetrock when he was a kid. But he went in there and he started doing his art because that art helped him to live, in his art instead of in prison. And plus, he'd get his way with the guard. Billy was like the go-to man. If you needed something, you go see Billy. Billy was in tight with all the guards because they loved his art. So, it helped him out a lot.
So he's kind of like Morgan Freeman in Shawshank Redemption.
Right.
Is that right? Like,
He knows how to get stuff.
Go
right?
see Red. Okay, I got you. Well, can we get into the specific crimes for people to know? Because I want people to know, was it just breaking and entering? I mean, he got 28 years?
Total 28 years.
Total 28 years.
Yeah.
So was that main thing? Was he stealing, or did he end up,
He was
hurting?
stealing, and then he got in a fight with a guy. He was at this, I guess, at his girlfriend's house, and apparently somebody else's girlfriend. Apparently, I don't know. And he kept hearing somebody banging on the door. She said, "Man," so I finally went out there. Said this big dude jumped on the man. So I was trying to get him off. Said, "I just reached got my knife and stuck him, and he was still, he said it was life or death, man." So I just kept sticking him, and it killed him. He didn't mean to, but he was self-defense.
Okay.
So
Gotcha. Well, he thought it was self-defense, but he got convicted to total of 28 years, or did he die in
for
prison?
different things. That only
Okay.
he's been in and out, and violated parole, had to go back.
Yeah.
So it was in and out quite a bit.
Gotcha. And I mean, I don't know a lot about the backstory. I mean, of course, we don't excuse murder on the show, but I do believe in redemption. And that's what this story is sounding, what interested me so much is seeing, a lot of people in West Virginia make terrible decisions, that are hard to come back from. But at the same time, you need to look within and see the humanity still left in people. So that's what really drew me to this and learning more about it. And I appreciate y'all coming in and telling me about it.
And he was able to create something positive out of his experience. There's a lot of prisoners that probably just kind of rot away in jail and don't change and don't do anything productive. But he created a lot of beautiful art in prison that survives today, and I think, like you said, it's a redemption story. It's a story of not being trapped in your own mind, but being able to create. Like Benny has told me before, he would read a lot of books and he would kind of paint what was on the outside, and that kind of kept him sane and kept him productive.
Yeah, man. I'm in. Did he end up? So how did he end up passing away? Did he die in prison?
Cancer.
Oh, it was cancer.
See, like when he was in prison too, excuse me, they would bus him to the prison mines and they'd work as coal miner. And so that's where he got a lot of coal mine scenes, and that's where he got a lot of that. And I'm sure books, but a lot of he worked in the mines. They haul him in a prison book. There's a big story about that. It's huge.
Sure. No, yeah.
It's huge.
What mines did he work at? Do you know?
I don't really know. It's
around.
called the prison mine. They bust them down there and bust them back.
Oh, so the prisoners worked in the mines.
The prisoners.
Ah.
Yes. So he told me, said if he never went to prison, he'd probably been a coal miner and never been this good artist. He'd said, I'd probably been a coal miner.
Do they still do that?
I don't think so.
No.
I've never heard of a prison like the pickup trash thing, cut weeds. I haven't heard go to the coal mine and like
back in the 40s and 50s, the chain gangs. I don't think that's
yeah. Well, and that's good to clarify too. Like the time period is early to mid 1900s, correct?
They did that, yeah. But he actually was in prison in the 70s and 80s, probably
60 to 80.
60.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So maybe then that was allowed.
That ended in 75.
See, he got out once on parole and went to Parkersburg and opened his own studio, but he violated his parole and had to go back.
Yeah.
So
I got you. So the first piece of art that you found, tell me when you came across that.
Well, it's like when I met him back here at the company store. I got talking to him, and he's an artist. I said, that's cool. I've been a big collector and fan. I've done art when I was a kid, and a wood artist now. And I went over to his house and bought my first painting. I'll show it to you sometime at the show.
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah.
It's a picture of Indian standing up, holding a buffalo skull in his hand. I just fell in love with it. And after that, man, I just want to know everything. And I've always been fascinated with prison movies. Anything about prisons I like. I got a lot of prison stuff. I mean, I got guitars, dulcimers, toys. Man, I don't know what I'll have from prison. I'm a big prison buff. And plus, I got another collection, another inmate that's still living. I got over 100 heads. He said he's getting ready to get out on parole here next few months.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Mount Olives. They get ready to release him. But I got 100 heads.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's like, would you consider that your thing, like collecting prison artwork, or do you collect other types of artwork as well?
Mainly just prison art, my big thing. I mean, I got some David Mann's art, Easy Rider, the Ghost Rider, Easy Rider, whatever it is, Ghost Rider, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And Coming at You, the Mountain Man. I got some very nice David Mann's work.
Oh, cool. What is it about prison artwork that you're drawn to?
Well, I just like, I don't know, it's just the story behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the story, but like all these paintings, there's stories behind it. Like when I buy a picture off somebody, I will take it all apart so I can see what he wrote on the back of the canvas or the canvas board. And so I find all kinds of cool quotes and stories. And some of them I ain't solved yet. Me and my wife's still working on them.
Oh, no, tell me about one. So like sometimes they turn into little puzzles. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Let me figure out what the...
Well, I mean, for instance, like the barbershop picture,
Mm-hmm.
And like I went to a guy's house the other day. He told me he had some paintings. Well, that's cool. So we go down there. As soon as I walk in, I look on the wall. I said, man, that's a self-portrait building. He didn't even know it.
Oh, the guy was
So I got 3 self-portraits now.
Oh, wow.
I got one, him sitting, I think it's sitting in Huntsville, and he's in front of the pro board, his hair all long, all slid down the chair, and his little pet rat sitting there crying, man. He got denied for drinking and stuff. So,
pet rat?
Pet rat, yeah.
That's awesome.
In the painting and everything, yeah.
Oh, in the painting. Okay.
Yeah, in the painting.
Okay, gotcha. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, I was picturing.
Some of the guys had pet rats,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Then he done a painting. He done this painting here. It don't look exactly like it. He done a painting called Boot Hill Saloon.
Mm-hmm.
So I built one like in my yard. It's like a museum / saloon.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's very nice.
Hold on, you built that? Wow.
You ever see inside of it?
What's in there?
You have to come look.
Okay.
Pay your $10 and come on, get your $10 and come on down.
Okay. Do you have like local craft beer, or what's in his place?
I got the best moonshine on the creek.
Okay. Is it that stuff that I'm not even going to go there? I mean, how do you make moonshine? Do you make it?
No, I don't know what I'm talking about, sir.
Okay, yeah. I got you. I know there's something to do with the radiator, and you got to make sure there's not antifreeze in it, and then it's a whole thing. I don't know the process. I want to have someone who makes it in here one day to come in and tell me. Yeah, do like I could make it anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
Where they could talk like, yes,
there you go.
Yeah, yes, you use a radiator.
Talk like a robot.
Yeah. Maybe one day. Well, that's awesome, man. How long did it take you to build that? And for those listening, Benny built a saloon that I'm assuming
wasn't a painting. Yeah,
it's on Facebook. It's called Pine Grove Hideaway. I got a picture of me building it. I'm still a couple years out. It's hard to get people to work. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah. Okay. So you had help. You didn't just do it by yourself.
I mainly done it myself. I had hands. People help me sometimes. Yeah. Holding stuff and the big things. I had to have help.
Sure.
But I set 20 foot 6 or 6 by myself back in the day.
Oh wow.
I dug the whole bank out by hand. I finally got my jackhammer. I was in heaven with that jackhammer. You had to come and look at it.
Yeah. I knew when I shook your hand and my hand broke every bone. I was like, man, this guy, yeah. He's been around.
Yeah, see, I changed it up a little bit. I put this bell tire in, and I put a 600-pound bell in out of a church.
Wow.
Oh, see, I got this. I had the saloon built. I could have been done, but then I said, well, I always have been impressed with a bell tire. So my buddy, He said, I got a bell in my church you can have. Said the church is old, it's falling down, scared somebody to hurt. I said, I go down there, I have it on the ground an hour, dude. So I take it up there and I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, I don't know. Maybe I ought to just set up, build a gazebo thing, set it on the ground like they do nowadays. I said, no, I'm going to stick with my original plan. So I built a bell tower and put the bell, got a deck around a room over top of it. I got a breezeway to another 4-story building.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yep.
That's insane.
And the bell works.
It
I've
is.
rang it before.
Sir,
I said the bell works because I've rang it before, and you have. It's pretty neat.
can I read you this quote here?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
This is a quote Billy told me about. He said he's seen it in one of the prisons, I guess on the walls. He said, this prison is much like a sawmill. You enter here as a damaged log, but you can either leave here at the other end as useful lumber or just worthless scattered sawdust along the way. That's a picture of him in 1971 and sitting in Moundsville in front of a painting on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good quote.
It's a good quote.
Great
Yeah.
quote, yeah.
You know what he told me? He said, everybody needs to spend 10 years of life in jail. Now she's got something she's gonna say in a little bit. She'll tell you about it. It's about a friend that was locked up with Billy. And after he got out, I come friends with him. So he and I are friends. And then we been talking back and forth. So we got a transcript of it and she can kind of just not read it, just tell you a little bit about it.
Yeah. We'll bring that up. So let's talk. So on that, is there a time in your life where maybe you kind of made some similar decisions, or do you relate to Billy in that way? Or like, have you ever did time yourself, or like, I'm just curious about the prison aspect.
I got put in jail in Fulton County, Georgia one time. A guy asked me too many questions.
Okay. Ooh, yeah. No, that's
Interview's over, right?
yeah. Yes, I'm approaching lightly. I'm like, oh,
Like, okay, the show's done.
yeah. What I want to ask, I'm like, all right. How do I ask if Benny's been in prison or not? We got to figure this out. But yeah, okay. Too many questions. Got it. But yeah. So no. Growing up, I know I relate to Billy in a way of not having a father figure myself. Thankfully, I didn't. I had father figures. I just didn't have a father figure. You know what I mean? Like my grandpa and my brother really stepped in and kind of saved my life. But, I can imagine how hard it would be not to have even that in your life too. So I try not to judge people and try to, obviously, it's sad he took that road, but at the same time, like you mentioned, he could have just sat there and been bitter and not done anything good with it at all, but decided to turn it into beautiful artwork. Yep. So yeah, I get it. All right, Ella, hit me with it.
Hit you with it.
Yeah. So he starts showing, how many pieces do you have?
About 162.
162. Okay.
32 years collecting.
Okay, so Ella just walks in the house and like is tripping over like artwork and is like, whatever, Benny, do whatever.
No, he pretty much had it all hung up.
Oh, okay.
Well, not all of it, but the pieces that amazed me were the Jesus pictures.
Cool.
And there was just so much detail, and you could just stand looking at them for hours.
Yeah.
And not see everything.
Was Billy religious later in life?
At the end.
At the end?
That's a story about that too. The church picture. We'll get into that later.
Okay. So
you want to talk about my friend that was incarcerated with Billy in Moundsville. He spent 10 years with Billy.
I can.
Sure, yeah.
He learned tattoo business from him.
Mm-hmm.
In prison?
In prison. So he come out and he won Best of Show in New York. Best of Show. And his whole life was tattooing. That's how he survived, That's how he paid for his house. This tattoo, Billy taught him that. And he said if it wasn't for Billy, he'd be dead,
Mm-hmm.
He was there when the riot broke out. So Billy helped protect it. Billy was the go-to man. Like I say, he got his way through his art.
Mm-hmm.
So he helped this guy a lot. And the guy come out, won Best of Show, and he's never looked back. But we'd been talking, and he hadn't talked about it for 30 years, dude. I'm sorry. Go ahead, honey.
And he, when they contacted each other and got to talking, he he told a lot of things about things that happened in prison, and that it's not the peachy keen sugar coated stuff that the public's told. But when he was 18 years old is when he went in, and he says that probably he turned 19 when the riots broke out.
Yeah, he broke in a gas station, didn't
Yeah, he got, I guess, 10 years for breaking and entering. He broke in a gas station and stole a candy bar and a pack of cigarettes.
he? Well, actually,
He got 10 years for
no,
that?
he actually
Well-
probably got 2 years, but when he was in prison, he was doing these tattoos and stuff and making these homemade tattoo guns, which I can show you one here in a minute.
Oh, can I keep it?
He's like,
No, I'm kidding. I'm
it's a
kidding.
little rusty. It's a little rusty. Don't tattoo anybody with it.
Anyway, he hung out with Billy and Danny Lehman, and Blue Moon was a bad dude, man. It's another story. Red Snyder. These 2 pictures out there floating around. I think I might have Blue Moon.
Are they all named after packs of cigarettes and beer?
No.
Like it's like Blue Moon, Randy Rick.
But
These are people.
But
Who are
anyway,
these?
the reason he was spending 10 years is because, he hung out with Billy, learned art and tattoos, and, then the guards come by and catch him stuff, and he'd pull time.
Right.
Actually, they give him time. Anyway, this is a homemade tattoo gun was made in prison. It's a Shanks.
Oh, wow. One's a butter knife.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I'm looking at it's like a shadow box, and it has a bunch of the shanks are like metal
Right.
formed into a knife, and which people on YouTube can see. But if you're listening, there's like a homemade tattoo gun. What is the top part? It's got a long wire
the
connected.
motor, probably right. The little
We
motor.
hooked the motor to it and stuff.
Yeah, and then what do you put like a pin? You put was that a pin on the
I think on the right side.
end of it? Yeah. That's good to know. I watched a thing where it talked about how they make the ink, and they set a fire in like this little aluminum like tube, and then the soot
Billy.
attaches to the roof of it, and they scrape it off,
Hmm.
and then they use that as ink.
Is that sanitary or?
I mean,
is that up to code?
what's a little hepatitis B? It ain't that.
little ash in your veins is good.
Yeah, I mean, you just be a little
Makes you
uncomfortable.
stronger, right?
Right?
A little itchy.
Yeah,
Every
just,
now and then.
just a little
Pass
bit.
these over.
As long as it doesn't start, puffing up.
Right.
Oh yeah, what am I
One
looking
on the
at?
bottom for you.
Oh, okay.
I can stamp it for you and everything before I leave.
Okay. Yeah, this is cool. So, love it. So this is a picture of Billy as a
That's a
kid?
picture of me, a kid.
Oh, Benny as a kid. Got it.
Yeah,
11 It says
Yeah.
11 years old, hustling pop bottles at 5 cents a piece.
I'd work for all the old women in town and stuff, and they would pay me with pop bottles.
Right.
I always was a hustler, always trying to make that nickel.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to make a nickel.
Yeah. So what would you consider did you ever have a time as like, well, I'll go work at Walmart for a few years, or like, what was your main thing, like piecework? Like you'd figure out kind of how to turn a penny into a dime or
I've just always been a hustler, but I retired from the coal mines, and I've been doing carpenter work since I was in grade school.
Gotcha.
So I love working with wood, and I live for it.
Yeah. So you was a coal miner.
Yes, sir.
How many years?
I got 20 years, and I was laid off 18, and then in that time I was running around different states, like Ocean City, Maryland, Washington D.C., building stuff for people.
Mm.
And
So-
I always done good with it. Like I tell a lot of young people, man, you need like dress nice and talk polite. It'll take you a long ways in the world. It's simple,
Yeah.
and it's done me good.
I mean, the golden rule, do unto others.
Right?
That's all you got to do, it seems, and we just still can't figure it out, Jose.
Yeah.
We still mess it up. But so tell me about what's the life of a coal miner like in West by God, Virginia?
It's rough. It's rough. The day I turned 55, I walked out, brother. I said, "Good day, mate.
You said peace.
I'm out." I've worked in coal like this, crawling around on my hands and knees all day before.
About 3.5 foot high or
Yeah,
48
low
inches.
coal, man. And run equipment laying down in it. It had chalk marks on the ceiling so I could see where I was going.
Mm.
But you couldn't see over top of the stuff. It was so low.
Sure.
I experienced a lot of wild things in the coal mines.
Swing that mic over to you.
I'm sorry.
How many hours did you work
Well, it's normally 8-hour shift, but I have worked. I worked a many 16-hour shifts. Well, I wouldn't recommend nobody do it.
That's a lot.
I've worked a many of them. I've worked like 2 or 3 weeks, 16 hours a day. Actually, I stayed in the temple. I couldn't even drive home, so it was so far to drive. So I just stayed in the temple, having a cot set up.
I've heard of some people sleeping on the batteries in there, like you sleep on top because it's nice and warm.
The power centers, man.
Power center, yeah.
Centers, yeah. I've laid up on there, like when they shift change, like if I was doubling over and working another 8 hours, day shift would go out, so I'd stay in there. I get up on the power box, man. I'll chill out, there till the other crew come in.
Nice and warm. Yeah, my father-in-law, he's the boss for about 40 years in coal mines. So and I was a coal miner, actually. I was a surface coal miner, though. I was coal miner light. I just,
Right.
yeah, hopefully I had air conditioning. If I had air conditioning, it was going to be an awesome night of just dumping rock over the hill 70 times in a row. Yeah. But it was fun because I loved the people. I hated the job because I was terrible at it. But I somehow
you
tricked him out of 9 years.
You quit or they fired you?
I quit, son.
Mutually parted?
You don't fire this, Jose. No, actually.
Mutual separation. Right?
Actually, I got fired at McDonald's, but
Okay.
that's a whole other thing.
The whole thing.
But yeah, so I love hearing stories about the mines because I don't know if like I was a terrible coal miner, so it was determined. I was determined to figure something else out. So I have that. I think we have that. Although you did work 20 years, so you put in your time. But so your main art is like woodworking, you would say?
Yes.
That's your thing. Do you like make certain pieces? Is there something that you
building stuff?
Okay, so
I
that's
built a saloon, and now I built my own house, built everything up there. But my last project I'm working on is going to be a Billy Foster church. This right here, just not a full picture, but I'm going to build it in a small scale on skids.
Oh, wow. On
And
skids, what does that mean?
Where I can move it, transport to your venue or something. If you want to do a wedding, I'm going to trick it all out. It's going to be usable. I'll make it like 14 foot wide, 20 foot long. So I want to look as much as like it as I possibly can. If I get there, I'm quitting.
Hold that up at your mic. So you're going to be a traveling wedding venue? This sounds incredible. Why isn't this a thing yet? Or is it a thing?
No.
That's well, I'm excited to see that. What's your timeline on this? When are you gonna start it?
Well, it'll be a couple years from now.
Okay. Why so long?
Well, if you come down to help me, I can get it a little quicker. I'll let my wife read a little something to you.
Sure. Yeah.
About the church. This was a pen and ink drawing Billy done for his wife, but she's going to explain it to you.
Yeah. And those listening, it's a very beautiful drawing of a church, and Benny's going to rebuild this bad boy in 2 years unless some people learn to work and get out there and help him a little bit. So let's get that happening. Go ahead, Ella.
The church is actually called Healing Waters, and like he said, Benny painted this for his wife, or actually pen and inked it for his wife, and it just says on it, "As much as my loving wife studies the Bible, I think she should be the preacher of this little country church I drew for her January the 26th of 1998. Hope you love the drawing, Sweet Pea. I was thinking of you, the one I love with all my heart and soul. You saved me from the cold concrete and steel bars, and hope you will be the reason I get saved one day before I meet my maker. I love you, my beautiful wife, Billy Alvin Foster. Hugs and kisses, January the 27th of 1998. No, not today, Patty. I still have a couple 40s left. Just kidding."
Lord.
Oh, the other part.
He was an outlaw, but he was also very romantic, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, I didn't
Sounds
know
like
that.
it.
And this is the part that the preacher of the Healing Waters Church commented on. And he said, "That was the name the Lord gave me for the name of our church back in 1988. Patty got saved in 1996 on a cold Sunday night. I had visited her and Billy quite often, and Patty did lead him to the Lord before he died." So.
Okay, so how do you get baptized in prison? How's that work? Do we know?
Was he out already by then? Or
Yeah.
Oh, he was already out.
Yeah,
He was out. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He got out in 1989
Got it.
and married his wife, Patty, in 91, and he died in 2005.
Okay. I'm with you now. slowly getting the timeline. I mean, it's just such a complex story.
Yeah, right.
I want to make sure I get it right for the people listening. So Jose, how about you? Tell me what drew you into this, and what kind of conversation did you and Matt originally have on why you wanted to figure something out?
Well, I mean, I like to be involved with people that are passionate about stuff, and Benny is super passionate about Billy Foster and art. I'm also passionate about my collecting. I collect quite a bit. I put my shows on, so I can kind of relate to him on that aspect. And what I enjoy is really highlighting, artists that people don't know much about. I enjoy, highlighting local artists. So even helping a little bit to grow Billy's reputation would be something that I would be interested in, because I do think he's a great artist. And as Ella was reading that, I was looking over at that church. He was fantastic in pen and ink. Very good. I mean, he was a great oil painter, but his detail in his charcoal drawings or pen and ink are fantastic. So I really believe he's a very good artist, and I'm just kind of happy and to try to cement his legacy as a great, important West Virginia artist.
Sure, yeah. Well, for those listening, it's like, also we got to remember Billy did stab a dude, and it's in question on what happened. I don't know the exact details, but how do you see that, and how are you planning on portraying that in the documentary?
Matt would probably be better at answering that. That's just part of his backstory. The thing that I look at, I don't really know exactly the details as much as Benny or Matt have learned. But I just, the angle that I think is important is the redemption story. And also, he was a tormented artist. Most of the artists that have gained a big reputation is because of their fascinating story.
Sure.
The tormented artists who can't help but create. And I think it's neat that you can be so tormented or so, locked up in jail, but also find the mentality to create something beautiful, like, Van Gogh or even like Billy Foster. So to me, that part of the story is what fascinates me more than the actual details, the gory details,
Yeah. I'm trying to, let's see. All right. If we took Billy's advice and did 10 years in prison, I think that's the only way I'll actually read, but I need to read.
Yeah.
And you'd have time to read.
Yeah. I'm not going to follow that
I told him, I
advice.
said, Billy, you spend enough time, me and you both, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm good, Billy.
I'm good.
Yeah. Thanks for the advice. But yeah. Now I understand what he means by that though. It's like perspective.
Yeah. And also the things that he depicts are very Appalachian.
Oh, no, you did not.
Again, I thought I got it right. They're very
Appalachian.
Remember, I'm from Mexico, California. I have an accent already. So.
Listen, we're all from somewhere.
Appalachian.
We're all from somewhere, but it's Appalachia. Okay.
I think the stuff he portrays are very identifiable, to this area. The coal mining pieces that he did, the moonshining pieces, even some of the Native American stuff that he painted.
Yeah.
So I definitely think he kind of represents this area pretty well. And like I said, that angle plus his life story, and then also the relationship that he had with Benny, I think are just fascinating. And as a future maybe museum curator or owner, I'm fascinated in interesting stories, and I think this is a very interesting story that needs to be made aware.
Yeah. I love it. What is your love for art? How far does it go back? Is it something that you had early, or?
Yeah, I've always loved art. As a matter of fact, whenever I was younger, whenever I was like 7, 8 years old, I wanted to be a comic book illustrator or an animator, and I still have like probably hundreds of drawings that I did when I was 9, 10, 11 years old. So I always had the passion for art. I would, sketch them out, and I would actually even make my little squares and make my comics and staple them and put them together and number them. So I've always enjoyed art. I moved to West Virginia in '93 and started working in the restaurant business. So I think the art kind of took a backseat to that. And about 7, 8 years ago, I really started visiting more museums and was drawn in by a moving painting. It's kind of hard to explain, but in traveling to museums and seeing a piece of art that I am familiar with, that I've studied but never seen in person, the emotional connection that you have with it is it's kind of hard to describe. I've actually like I love the work of Edward Hopper. There was a piece in Dayton that I was fascinated to see, and I saw it from afar, and there was other paintings nearby, and I literally just like wasn't emotionally ready to see it. So I looked at everything else, and then once I had kind of calmed down, I just stood there and saw it and took it in, and it kind of makes you emotional, and that's kind of hard to describe, but that's what art does.
No, it makes perfect sense. And for those who don't know, my man Jose is an entrepreneur, but he's the type of entrepreneur that like you get to a certain point and you're like, how do I give back? How do I do these things? How do I get into like, because how I'm doing right now, I started getting into this because of I wanted to make a zombie movie, and eventually I was making all these corporate commercials and doing all this stuff that I love to do.
Right.
But we got to get back to that zombie stuff, which comes Creepalachia.
Yeah, the passion.
Yeah, the passion for it. So it's really cool to see you explore that. And it's done a lot of good.
And I think it's important to do as much as you can to bring the arts to the area. What I always think of whenever I do my shows is I really want people to come to one of my shows and feel like this is like a big city show. I know that there's not a whole lot of fine art in the area. There's one or two great museums in the state, where if you go to Pennsylvania and Ohio, there's 8 to 10 of them. But I always feel like if you're here and you're going to live here and I have a great business and great family, great friends, why not create something here? Why not fill a void? And sometimes it may seem like it's unattainable, but anything that you're passionate about, if you have support and if you feel strongly about it, people will get on board. I'm very fortunate that through the business, I know a lot of people. I have a lot of great business relationships. So I definitely get that support, and it kind of fuels me to kind of keep going and keep doing things that maybe aren't, already in the area, and just kind of create opportunities for artists or teach people about fine art, and just the support and the great comments that people say when they come to one of my shows. It kind of keeps me going.
Heck yeah. I love it when I like the stories where someone does something unexpected.
Right.
And if you go to the big city and you succeed, that's kind of expected, but not really. I mean, like it's very low percentage chance of you doing that still. But even still, hearing about my man Benny in the holler building a saloon is 100,000 times more cooler to me.
Yeah,
because it's like Field of Dreams type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You build something and then people gravitate to it and appreciate it.
Like I told you one time when I text you, anything that you're passionate about, if you do it because you love to do it and you're not expecting a reward, a financial reward, passion always comes through. People always know when somebody's passionate about something, and people like to be around those kind of people. And you can't fake passion. You either love something or you don't. And if you do love something enough, you're going to find a way to make it happen. Like you're doing, like Benny's doing, like I'm doing.
Son.
Yeah.
I love it when people are like, are you really going to do that thing?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that thing. And not only that, I'm going to be successful at it.
Yeah.
But and then again, they totally forget after they talk to you. But I have that chip on my shoulder type mentality where like, I'm going to show you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when you first started, you were probably asking people to help or be on the show. But now, honestly, we're thrilled and honored to be here because you've grown so much, and I'm sure now people are banging on your door.
Oh man, it's been really fun. It's I'm just so grateful and humble over it. The first guest was my father-in-law. I was like, hey. Yeah, I was like, hey, you were a miner for 40 years. You know any ghost stories? He was like, yeah, I know some ghost stories.
He probably didn't even want to be on the show at the beginning. He's like, nah.
I mean, actually, my father-in-law loves me.
Right.
Yeah. And he was, and it's so fun to talk to him. So he just came in and when we were talking, I got one of those, like maybe you get when you look at artwork, or Matt gets when he's making something that he's really enjoying. I just got a warm feeling. Yeah. When I was speaking with him, and I was like, this is going to be a thing.
Yeah.
And then we started talking about murderers, and then we started calling them out, and then we started trying to find missing people, and we started telling stories about the Mothman, and it's just snowballing into this whole thing. So I'm just, I'm glad to be here, but I'm also glad to meet awesome people like Benny. So give me another story, Benny. Let's talk about, we have, for anyone listening, we have mountains of paperwork here that have all kinds of amazing artwork. Like you got one here. It just says Outlaw Billy Foster painted 6 murals on the walls at Moundsville State Penitentiary. So they allowed him to like
Yes.
hey, you want this wall? You can paint on it.
Billy was the man, Like I say, he was the go-to man through his art. Yeah, Billy, his advice on art says, when you don't feel good, draw. When you feel good, draw. Even if you got to force yourself for an hour a day. Train your mind to see every detail and capture the vision in your head. He'd have me stop. He'd call me. I'll be on the way home. I took care of Billy because, that's that art,
Sure.
That's the story. So, he said, pick me up a bottle of 10 High. I say, okay. I come down through there and like.
A bottle of what?
10 High. I think it's 10 High liquor.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I pull up there. I've done this quite often for us. I pull up to the house that day. I'm looking over. I'm like, look at the car. Oh, no. I got to go. The windows all beat out the car and the door's standing wide open. I was getting ready to pull out, and I looked over again I said, Lord, help me, Jesus. So I walk in there. I walked in the house there and I'm stepping over stuff. I said, dang, Billy, what happened? He said, I redecorated my house. You like it? I said, I love it, Billy. He said, the fan still works a little lopsided. And then so we sat there and at that time I was making prints and stuff, just getting going with and stuff in there. And Billy was hard to deal with sometimes, like his buddy had tattooed on his chest, trust no one. And so then we got talking about the prints, and I think I broke out the prints, and then we had to have a toast, and I just got off work day, and I'm not a big drinker, but I'm like, okay, I'll toast to you. The next thing I know, we're toasting to the ceiling fan called the lopsided. You know what I mean?
Was he hard to deal with whenever he was drinking, or just in general? Mostly when he was drinking. Probably?
Mostly when he was drinking. Yeah,
he got a little red.
Artists are hard to deal with sometimes, but
people are. Yeah,
very rarely is an artist able to juggle sanity. I'm just like, so a lot of times I feel like I get halfway through a conversation and realize I haven't listened to one word. And then, I kind of put on this mask of professionalism when I'm in a meeting. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, are they going to figure me out this time?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I deal with a lot of artists, and they're definitely, I don't know if it's like the left brain thing or whatever, but they're very creative, but very kind of unorganized and a little scattery.
Sometimes
but so are we. I mean, me and Benny, we get kind of high strung, but I think creative people are like that.
Oh yeah. Well, and most creative people, I'll just call them out, are lazy. I'm just going to say it because, they may do amazing work, but sometimes they get bitter and are like, why doesn't people buy my stuff? Why not this? Why not that? And it's like,
I'm gonna say unorganized, not lazy.
Oh well, I mean, now
very unorganized.
They're all pretty well unorganized, and there's some ADHD, but a lot of them get this. It's probably a smaller percentage. I'll be fair, but there's a lot who have this. Is the word entitlement? I don't know if that's the word. There's like a mentality there of like. The people I see succeeding are collaborative instead of bitter, if that makes sense. But anyway, that's just my experience, and I know that because I battle with a lot of those things my own self personally. Yeah. So I see those things in other people, but yeah. So all right, we want to get Matt in here. Let's get Matt in here. We'll go ahead and shuffle around. We got to talk to the director of the film. Let me tell you one
story right quick.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. It's like me and my wife, we just got through doing a 7,000-mile trip on the whole West Coast, sightseeing and promoting Billy's work. And like I'd bust out art shows at restaurants. I busted them out on the beach. I sold a few, but I gave a lot away, But I was promoting his art a whole way. I got photos all of it, and it's kind of cool. I've met a lot of cool people through Billy's art. Made a lot of good friends.
Yeah. That's awesome that it brings people together like that.
Yes.
How many pieces are in the exact show? I probably should have asked Jose this, but how many? It's going to be
50 or 60 pieces.
How much?
50 or 60.
It'll be more than that.
50, 60, maybe 70 ish. maybe 80.
The last show I done, we probably had 140. 30,
Oh, wow.
130, 140. That's not all of them. Yeah.
No, we had about 153 in the last
Oh,
show.
maybe it was. Yeah.
It was a big show.
Ella just said 153 and a half. Like she just called out the number exactly. It's like, hey, listen, I got the exact details here. All right, we got a new person joining us. We got Matt Bickey in the studio. Thank you for joining us, even though you've been here the whole time. But
Yeah, my
you know,
pleasure.
yeah. So give me some background on you, Matt, and your life.
Well, I was born and raised here, and I left at 18, thinking I would never return. I went to college in Kentucky and then graduated from Concord. And then I became a bartender for 5 years, which I think really improved my personality. And then I decided to go to film school in New York, 97, 98. And I wrote a script that got some interest, and I had secured an agent in LA. And I was about to move there with my then girlfriend, now wife. And my father called and said that he was in kidney failure. And he said, can you come back and get involved in the family businesses? And I did that. And I said, I do that for 5 years. And that's 29 years ago.
Nice.
But I've always had a love for filmmaking. And I've made several shorts. And this is my third documentary.
Heck yeah. Well, what were you drawn to with this project in particularly? Like, what was the initial thought of why this would make a good film?
Well, it's a very interesting tale just because, you know, he's a prisoner. The idea that you create art for 28 years in a cell, you know, which he did, multiple cells. And I do have some answers for some of those questions because I've been doing a lot of research about his criminal history.
Okay, yeah.
But it's striking to me just how much he created, and Benny doesn't even know. I mean, there's maybe thousands of paintings that are out there, which leads to the great part of Benny's story, which is this treasure hunting kind of aspect of the whole thing. Like he just, like a detective, goes out and finds these pieces and brings them back. And, you know, some of them you've come across in, like, you know, estate sales and stuff.
Yes, I've had people donate me stuff. I've had people who got some art, won't let me look at it.
It's just a fascinating tale. Now, the problem is it's sort of a divergent documentary. So I'm right now in editing hell, which
Nice.
I'm sure you know about.
Oh, yes.
Because it's not just Billy's story. It's actually more Benny's story.
Mhm.
Keeping those two things in parallel is challenging. I mean, the cut right now is 4 hours long.
Nice.
So that's
Rookie numbers. Come on.
I've got to cut that number down.
Yeah. No, that's great. You know what I hope happens is you open one of these pictures up and you find a treasure map or something and you're like, oh, this is a whole new thing.
Well, it's really interesting that he writes on the back of many of them.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, I have a great little piece of footage from this last trip we took up to Salisville, where he saw the self-portrait that he didn't even know. The gentleman didn't know he had a self-portrait when he's in the prison cell. But I see Benny like flip the picture over in this one look, and he's like looking, and it's just brown paper. And I knew he wanted to rip that paper.
You know it, absolutely. I've done it many times. I get it redone perfect. I could redo it.
Yeah.
I do a lot of framing, covering, and
So
sketch my own
anyway,
canvas.
Has there been any you had to restore? Sorry, I'll get
Oh,
back
yes.
to you.
A few of them.
Few of them kind of like clean up a little bit. And
Yeah, I had a gentleman do it for me. Clean some of them up.
oh, cool.
There's been a lot burned up. A lot went down the creek in floods. I've heard a lot of stories.
Yeah.
it's another thing I find fascinating that, you know, you're creating all this art in like a 6x8 or 8x8 cell, and you can't get attached to it. You can't keep it. So he's kind of got this very cavalier attitude toward his own art, and that continues even after he gets out. And you know, he will do drawings for people and trade it for beer money.
You can't keep it?
No, not in prison.
Oh, wow. I didn't.
That's like Sparky. He gave it to Mr. Stump to take him to make a beer run.
How much you want for that?
Not for sale.
Not for come on now,
I turned down 10,000. You double it. Well, talk. That'd be about it.
man.
Hey,
Maybe one day.
it's a great. Hey, it's one of my best pieces.
It's great. Yeah. I mean, I love it. I'd love to have it in here. But I'll have to. You take IOUs?
Absolutely. I know where you live.
Okay.
But you know, of course, you can Google about Sparky and Moundsville Penitentiary. It can tell you the whole story about it. You know.
Oh, I know about Moundsville.
You know about the Sparky there. It's got the story about Sparky. We put it in. How many people got electrocuted, and all that stuff. It's all there.
And when what year did they quit in the 70s, didn't they?
So I think somewhere in the 70s.
Man, I think I know the last hanging death on death row was at Moundsville in West Virginia.
Right.
But yeah.
Matt passes over. That's for him to see too there.
Oh, cool. Stickers. Are these stickers? What are
Yes,
they?
sir.
Oh, my dude. Benny's on my good side. Look at that. I mean, he'd be on my good side anyway
Hey,
if he came here.
Did you ever watch the YouTube video? It was made probably 15 years ago. Did you get to watch it?
I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
I'm going to have to watch it. I watched a news story.
Yeah, it's the artwork of Billy Foster YouTube video.
How long is it?
It's about 10 minutes.
Did I get this? Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that. Yeah, I'm gonna check it. I'm sorry, Jose. I'm useless. But yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Well, thank you for these stickers. I will.
Yeah, we was in out west there. Went to Alcatraz, man, and we done went up there and kind of toured what we was going to do. And I'm like, somebody said they're doing a book signing up there. Some inmate was up there. He was 91 years old. So I had this guy ride me all back there. I gave him art stuff. People worked there, and so they rode me all the way back there. I got to meet this guy, William Baker, and he was 91 years old, and he spent time in there. He signed a book for me, like to here's to Outlaw Billy Foster, William Baker. Then he signs. I got him to do one for me. It says good luck with Outlaw Billy Foster's artwork. But I haven't got to read the book yet.
Benny, you're one of my favorite dudes. Can you hold up that book right there? So
Absolutely.
he just gets into a story about Alcatraz so nonchalantly. And I'm just like, wait a minute. What? So you went to Alcatraz?
I did.
Okay, you visited? I mean, obviously you didn't go to Alcatraz.
I visited.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, how long ago was
Actually,
that?
That was my grandpa that escaped and swam to shore. You didn't hear about it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I believe you. I believe you. I believe anything you say today. That's just how I'm going to roll. That's I heard they're firing it back up. I don't know.
Pass these over, man. So check them out.
So Matt, I'll ask you. So I asked Jose the question. He deferred to you. Took the easy way out. So obviously having a past like Billy's and unfortunately making some of the decisions he did. How are you planning on telling that story while remaining honest about what happened, but also hopeful for the redemption aspect of it?
Well, I've contacted Huttonsville Prison at Benny's suggestion to try to get a copy of his actual jacket because I know it's out there. There's a clip that Benny interviewed someone, and that gentleman seemed to know a lot about it. So I know it exists. So hopefully I can get that. But I did utilize newspapers.com and go back, just look for his name. And the funny thing is, there's several reports of his breaking and entering, but there's not a single story about either of the murders that were committed.
So there were two?
There were two.
Okay.
And I'm not even really sure which one happened first. And from, I'm very, very intimately associated with all the footage of Benny right now because I've been watching it over and over again. But he was with someone else's girlfriend, I believe, and that guy tried to attack him and he killed him. And then there was another murder. But I believe he got off on second degree or either involuntary manslaughter both times.
Okay.
But it was a total of 28.
Yeah, on that story, what happened, him and this guy, he was out on parole, and he was working with Diz Hamilton, a big businessman in town. So Diz liked Billy's art, so he helped him,
It was paying him
parole. He got him a room, and he paid him $5 an hour to paint these pictures. So Diz ended up having like 200 pictures. And the story Billy tells me, he said, I thought the guy was kind of took advantage of him, screwing. So me and my buddy said, we went down there and robbed him, all his liquor. We drank all his liquor, broke all the bottles and everything. And then we go up there, and I think he robbed the Southern State store. And
Either Southern States or Valley, one of them. Yeah, Mr.
So they robbed him and got a gun. And so they all tanked up on liquor, man. He's off the hook on his liquor. Good guy when he ain't drinking liquor. So anyway, they go down there, and that dude hands Billy the gun, says, I want you to kill the guy, because he was trying, I guess, to get with his wife or something. And Billy, all drunk, he said, well, dude, you just try to set him up. And he said, I shot him.
Goodness.
He said he didn't really mean to, but he said,
left him in the car and was walking down the tracks toward Elkins, which is interesting because, there's got that train depot.
Right.
And he's walking down those tracks right in front of the Elkins station. And that's when he was picked up. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think that's probably when he went in for the longest.
Well, it's good they got him in, because it sounds like the rehabilitation aspect of prison, did what it's supposed to do. And,
well, Benny brings up a really good point. I mean, if he doesn't go to prison and have all this time, he probably does not create. I mean, he might have still been an artist.
Well, he may have killed himself.
Yeah, true. But he might not have. He certainly wouldn't have created the number of works that he did.
Sure. Yeah. It's a very intriguing story indeed. And it's super, super talented.
Those aren't those from the Diz Hamilton collection?
As part of this Hamilton collection, there's 15 of them in that set.
Oh, wow. Okay.
15 of them in there.
So he was doing those for this gentleman, businessman.
Yeah, this one's
for $5 an hour.
$5 an hour?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. What year?
That would have been what? No. 90s? No, mid 80s. Or no, 70s.
That's what I made stocking shoes at Kmart.
He was in and out of prison quite a few times. Huntsville, Moundsville,
Fayette County Jail.
Yeah.
Most of his, almost all of his crimes, except for the one murder where the guy was banging on the door, were breaking and entering.
Mm-hmm.
And the news back then was hysterical. There's a newsprint. I actually have it on my phone, but it delineates what he did. He got caught breaking into this store, and he stole a pair of work gloves, 2 steaks, pipe tobacco, 7 carts of cigarettes. And while in the store, he made himself a bologna sandwich and a wiener sandwich.
So
this is in the news article. And I mean, this is how forthright he was.
Wiener sandwich?
A wiener sandwich.
What is that?
A hot dog? I mean,
yeah, honey, I need a wiener sandwich. Please.
That's actually what's in the clipping in the paper. I just thought that was hysterical.
That's awesome. If anyone knows what a wiener sandwich is, comment below.
Well, I'm going to tell you what a wiener sandwich is. You take a piece of bread, lay a wiener in it, fold it over, and eat it.
It's when you don't have a bun.
Like pigs
you don't have a bun.
Pigs in a blanket.
Yeah.
Kind of ish.
No, kind of.
No. Oh, well, pigs in a blanket has the baked dough
This is just a flat piece of bread and fold it up, put your skim of mustard on it and eat it.
Gotcha.
The day's top story is the wiener sandwich.
Yeah. I mean, if there's one thing I learned today.
Jesus.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Let's talk about this. You want to talk about this guy right here?
I want to talk about anything you want to talk about.
Let's talk about this guy here.
All right. There's a picture he's holding up. Let me see again. That's two
This
guys.
Is Don Pugh. He was a jailer at Fayetteville Jail. Super nice guy.
And then that's you on the left, right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So,
that's just for men, Benny.
Anyway, Billy got put in jail in Fayetteville. He told me the reason he went to jail. Said when he got out of prison, and he was in between, he didn't have nowhere to live, so he went and done something stupid, and they locked him up, and they would bring him paint because they know he was a painter.
Right.
They loved his art, so Don Pugh's got a lot of his work, and his mother had a lot of it, and. Anyway, Don Pugh's dead now. But anyway, before he passed away, and I know that he had all his art, so I'm like looking for this guy. I spent all day out on side of the road driving, man. I'm like, I got to find this cat, you know. Mm-hmm. So, man, I come up this big old place, like big RV, big mansion, like to me, you know. I said, wow, man. I'm like, Go up and knock on the door. I'm all happy. You know, I'm knock. Then we drive half a day. Nobody at the house, man. I said, Lord, what do I do now? I checked the door. I said, hell's unlocked. I said, I'll be all cool, man. I got my camera. I'll just run through the house.
Hold on.
And take the photograph and run back out, which I didn't do it. So I ended
Okay.
So I ended up got a hold of him, and we become best friends. He trusts me so well. Let me take all the art home. Said keep it as long as you need it. Bring it back when he's done. He was a super nice guy.
That's great.
But where Billy spent so much time in prison, like when he'd come home out of prison, you know, in prison they drunk coffee cold and everything, unless you're lucky to have a stinger to heat it with, you know, homemade stinger. But he would drink his coffee cold and his beer warm because that was his life. But too, he said, you know, you set your beer to let it go warm, you get a buzzer quicker, you know.
Sure, yeah. And what's a stinger? Is that something that
That's
you
just
make?
a stinger you make to put fire. You put it on the fire to heat up coffee or something in a prison. Homemade stinger, they call them.
Gotcha. Because a stinger in video is extension cord. So I'm just curious of how the definitions work. And then a stinger on a wasp, obviously. If you can't figure that out, you know, don't follow the show. Yeah. Well, this is really cool, y'all. What's the timeline, Matt? Like, when are you trying to get this polished?
I got a hard deadline. Well, like I've been telling them, I don't feel like what we're going to screen for this festival will be the final version of the film, because I really do want to go on one of these treasure hunts with him and kind of document one of those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be a preliminary cut of it, but it has to be done by July 19th, and I would prefer to have it done like Sunday.
Gotcha.
So that they can come take a look at it and tell me how bad it is.
Oh man, I'm sure it's awesome. Yeah, well, and for those listening, that was 3 days ago. So I hope you went.
So you get another shot on the 26th. Come on down.
That's right, 26. Heck yeah. Well, cool, y'all. So overall, Ella, what has your experience been like? You know, getting to hear Billy's story and see all this beautiful artwork.
It's been up and down, because the story's fascinating, but there's so many parts of the story that'll break your heart. I mean, when you listen to people and talk about him and you see videos and things of Billy, it's an emotional story.
Yeah, some
For
stories
me, it was emotional.
some stories we haven't solved, like the one with the Jesus picture. What's the name of it?
We have a Jesus picture called Fonda, and there's some things written on the back of it about how I guess he was in love with this woman, but her name is Fonda. And
Jane Fonda?
It just says Fonda.
Okay, gotcha.
You hit it.
But
Did
for
I?
a long-
You're the man.
For a long time, we were told it said Donna. And I got the picture out the back of it and was looking at it, what we had copies of. And I said, this doesn't say Donna. This says Fonda. So then we were on a treasure hunt trying to find out who Fonda was. And we haven't found Fonda
I've asked
yet.
a lot of people, and, you know, a lot of things unsolved, you know. Still
And that picture
that's just like this painting right here.
picture was pre-prison.
Mhm.
It was only
The crazy
18.
story behind this picture right here.
Oh, okay. What year? Well, did he make this?
He made that for me. I think it was 1998. So I'm a jeweler. I went to school to be a goldsmith. I made all my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I met my father when I was like 26 years old. So anyway, I had Billy do his painting for me. And on the sign, it says Jennifer. That's the name of my dad's store in Mississippi. So anyway, I had Billy do his picture for me. This guy painted for gold with the name of the store on here. So I gave it to my dad. And anyway, it ended up in the attic. It's a long story. That's another story. But it ended up in the attic. And so I talked to him on the phone one day. He said, I'm going to give that painting back to you. I said, okay, cool. And so me and my oldest brother, we was kind of tight. And he goes there and he calls us. I got your painting. I was like, cool, brother, man, cool, you know. And so when he comes home, he's carrying a pen and ink drawing that I gave him. I come unglued. So to this day, nobody tell me where it's at. It got stolen. 335 Arapahoe Lane, Madison, Mississippi, 39211. Reward.
Okay. We got it out there. That's
No,
great.
it's sad somebody takes something like that from you
Sure.
when they ride around in $200,000 of cars and they look down on me because I'm a coal miner. You know what I mean? They don't want to talk about. I finally, I'm friend. I got tired of fight. You know, I'm not usually a quitter. You know, but how much can you take? You know what I mean?
No, yeah. Well, let's talk about that. So the stigma that coal miners have. Tell me what you mean by that. And I know what you mean, but
By what?
Like people who tend to look down on coal miners, which I think it's increasingly fewer. But, you know, people tend to look at Appalachian, point their finger and say, you know, kind of ridicule us sometimes and different things like that. How have you felt that over the years?
Well, I mean, it's like my brothers there. They had everything handed to them on a silver platter. You know, they didn't know how to respect people. You know, all my dad's friends like me. You know, and you know I don't know. It's just overwhelming sometimes.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
never looked at a coal miner like that. I always, growing up, I always felt like, wow, you know,
Yeah.
that's an amazing job to have. I never looked down on coal miners.
Where'd you grow up at?
In Fayette County.
Well, that's why. Like we all here think like, because I know me growing up, which a lot of people do too across the world. It's very, you know, there's a very smaller portion of people that, and typically people who talk about Appalachia has never been here.
Mm-hmm.
They've never, you know, they see and hear all these stories in the media of, you know, hopeless this and opioids that, and, you know, all the different usual things. And they don't dive into people like, you know, we try to on the show and really the stories behind it. So I know me growing up, it was like coal miner was and is as respected to me as, you know, physicians, as teachers, as anything else. It just keeps things going. And as the world evolves, we're figuring out, you know, what that transition is like and how to take proper care of our coal miners, which I think is equally important. So,
Well, I don't think that many. Well, there's several kinds of intelligences, and some seem to be valued more than others. Like the sad truth is, you know, you can be good at something that's like, you know, what's the difference between a brain surgeon and a guy that can build a house? All right, well, the brain surgeon, you can't do that. You know, he's got some skills that are innate to him. But, you know, Benny, go build a house. Okay, so the judgment, I think, comes from the way, you know, jobs are valued monetarily.
oh yeah,
I
and
think
Benny,
there's a problem with that because, you know, problems today can be left or right, but I think most of them are top and bottom.
oh yeah, I love how you're putting that. And Benny cannot make moonshine, so people
Correct.
so people will know.
Just so
hey,
you know,
yeah.
I've had his butterscotch and it's pretty good.
Thanks for the save, brother.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. No moonshine coming out. What's the name of the saloon again?
Boot Hill Saloon.
Boot Hill Saloon. I love it.
It's a museum / full blown saloon.
And I love like there's different pictures here of Billy doing like barns with Coca-Cola signs, and it's kind of a wide range of and it's all kind of relative Appalachian culture type stuff. West Virginia heavy.
And a lot of Native American works. He was part Cherokee.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, okay.
I interviewed a professor from an art historian professor, and he had a lot of interesting things to say about Billy's themes.
Tell me about it. I'm going to show pictures here of people so they can kind of see.
Well, he kind of had, you know, 4 themes, you know, moonshiners and coal miners, animals and nature, a Christian artwork, and then also the Native American pieces. And what struck Dr. Grubbs was that almost all of these are being done in a cell behind bars, you know, and he's painting these Western expansion, wide open spaces. It's like a mental freedom that you can just see in the pictures. And I'm really struck by the Native American ones because I've been doing, you know, lots of close-ups for push-ins on images in the doc. And there are so many of these faces that have concern.
Mm-hmm.
There's this one great picture of these I think there's 4 Native Americans looking off to the left, and one's got his hand, it's like they're looking into the 19th century and they're coming erasure. I mean, and he really communicates that through the art.
That's awesome. So are you scanning some of these, or are you filming the art? Like, how do you make it look? How do you make it translate through?
We're using some high grade pictures that Benny took mostly. When we have the show done, there's some that I'd like to get the biggest camera we can and get in there, because I don't think it's been mentioned. Billy was totally self-taught. He never took a class. He looked at magazines, and when you see some of these paintings, JD, like the buildup of paint, he's using oils, sometimes acrylic, sometimes pen and ink, but mostly oils. And to achieve some of these effects, I mean, some of the paint is like an inch out from the canvas, and it's like, how did he learn to do that by himself?
Sure,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it really is beautiful work, and I relate a lot to that. Like, I'm self-taught, but I mean, mainly because I'm hard-headed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's whatever. I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I got stuff he done on velvet. You got Sparky was on pigskin. Stuff he done on sheetrock. Saw blades.
Love to do saw blades.
I got color pencils. It's off the hook. Done in 1982. I got from Thomas George, his barber. Actually, I went up there to get them paintings. I known about Thomas George for a long time. He finally said, "Come on up." So I'm gonna let you have some of his paintings. So I'm all happy, man. I go right on up there and stuff, and he got all these paintings lined up on the wall. I'm like, yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. I keep looking about these ones hanging on the wall back here. I'm like, so we make a deal, and I write him a check there. I said, what about them, Mr. George? He said, let me tell you, when I get ready to get rid of them, you be the man I call. So, all right. I said, well, ballpark figure, what do you think you want for them? He told me. I doubled it. He said, cool, can you give me extra $6 so I can take my wife to? I said, that's no problem. I got the ink and rolling, baby. I got the Foster pen and rolling.
That's great. How do you source these things? Do you have like a Billy detector where you're like, beep, beep, oh, there it is? Or do people know you're the go-to?
People found me, plus like back in the day when I was hanging out with Billy, I'd pick his brain, man. Like, I'd write down everything he told me. And then I've searched days, hours, weeks, months. I used to work on it every day. And that's how I found a lot of them. But
that's fun.
It's been a journey.
And then what do you have an idea of what the next one you're going to film him source or
I don't know.
Don't know. Has one popped up that you're which you've talked about a few, but is there one certain that like, yeah, I'm going to go to, Bim, West Virginia. That's where the coveted golden plate picture is. Or I'm just making stuff up.
There's a couple pieces down to Bale. I've been after. I've been on 2 or 3 times. Actually, I met the guy that had him. He was a guard, and he had 2 cool paintings. I think one of them was on there. The West Virginia cutout things on there. Anyway, he had that one and another one. That was on plywood.
Okay.
But it had another one. And then, I tried to buy them, of course. So, but I can't part with it. But, anything ever happens, they're yours. I said, cool. So years later, I finally passed out. Passed away. And so I go down there and talk to her. And struck out. Been down again, struck out. I done struck out about 3 times, you know what I mean? So.
Maybe one day.
But I got 2 new ones here a few months ago.
Yeah,
they're really nice. I mean, like that tall oil painting on plywood.
Yeah, I was a little
and
upset
then one on
that.
canvas. I knew about it for 15 years because I was doing a little art show down at the Capitol. And no matter where I do art show, somebody comes by and knows Billy has got a piece of his art. So, yeah, I got some of his work. I said, cool. So I got all her information stuff. I'm all excited, And so I called her up one day. I changed her mind. I said, I'm not even going to let you look at him. So I'm broken heart, It's like 15 years later, we're sitting there. I said, Ella, let's Google Bailey, Betty Bailey, and let's see, find her obituary. And I'm sure she passed away, and get some folks, get me a lead. And like the next day, this dude emailed me her son. And so I call him up, pumped up, I'm like, I've been kind of sick. I get by a tick and I lost a lot of weight and all that, yada, yada. I really don't want you to come now, but
Got bit by a tick.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so anyway, I talked to him, let me come. I said, let me just like come down there and just do a walkthrough in and out, you know what I mean?
Right.
So he finally agreed with it. So we get there, do the walkthrough, right? So I take him some money in my billfold, what I wanted to take. And I said, well, John, I said, what do you think we want for 2 paintings? He said, probably more than you want to give.
No, first he said they're not for sale.
Oh, yeah, he said they're not for sale. Is that what it's okay? Then I said, well, what do you think you might want for them, John? He said, more than you probably want to give. My heart just dropped. I'm like, oh, here we go. It ain't looking good for the home team, Billy. So anyway, I pour out all this money. I had my billfold, you know, I plotted this stuff, you know, so don't show this. I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I would get this money out and I hand it to him and he folded that money. I said, I'm in. I got him for a good deal.
Mm. So
he treated me so good that he's in the music business. So I said, dude, John, I said, look, I got this record player up there. It's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm going to give it to you. And I texted him here the other day about it. I said, man, your piece still up there, come and get it. But then he showed up. So I don't know.
Mm. Well, I keep holding the faith like I am for old Sparky.
Right.
I know. I'm gonna get a message later. Like, hey, this is Benny. You want to talk turkey here? No, that's great.
He's gonna say he got bit by a tick too.
Oh yeah, he's gonna tell me. Yeah, I got. When you know Lyme disease, is that what happened to get Lyme disease?
He lost a lot of weight and everything. But I talked to him, because I was pumped up, dude. I said, I got to go. I talked to him, and like the Jesus picture, we named Sweet Jesus because that's my saying, Sweet Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And so this Sweet Jesus picture, I had a little photograph of it that I got from an inmate in prison. A couple of guys I go see, long story, but I had this little picture of Jesus that he'd done for Brian Chirby. Mm-hmm. And it was so small. I mean, I could see it, but it wasn't good enough to make a print off of it. So, man, I tried for like 10 or 15 years trying to find this piece. You know, I'm like, he was still in Mount Olive. He transferred him from Mountville to Mount Olive. He just died here a while back. But anyway, a friend of mine, she sent me this picture of that painting. And I said, when can I come? She said, right now. I put my shoes on, went in my pajamas. I didn't want to change their mind. I said, I get to get there and get that baby. You know what I'm saying?
Before they change their mind.
That's like, I went to this one house and they had like 20 some pieces and they had them all stacked on the porch there. I'm like, wow, man. And so I know Foster's art pretty well, but then like I start grabbing them, man. I'm putting it in the car. You know, I'm thinking they're going to change their mind. Because I worked on that for a long time. Mm-hmm. Betty Collins worked on it for a long time. So I got them in the car, man. I go home, man. I didn't even look at them. I just seen they was Foster's. And like, man, I get home looking at them, and a bunch of them had Wormerchester frames made in prison. Really nice.
How cool.
It's been a hunt, brother.
It sounds like it. And it sounds like it's far from over. Sounds like there's plenty to come. Well, Matt, I do have a question. So what's it like for you kind of, continuing your father's legacy? Like, how important was the arts to him? And what was it like for you growing up to witness that?
Well, Dad was a very successful businessman, and he had an incredible home run with Ford stock in 2008. He just categorically believed somehow that they were not going to bankrupt. They were not going to take a bailout. And of course, their stock was low. So he made a significant investment in them. And then, 2 or 3 years later, that had blossomed into a lot of money. And he sort of abandoned all of his profit principles and decided that he wanted to build Beckley back, specifically downtown Beckley. He wanted it to look like it looked when he came here in 1966 and met my mother. She was working as a ticket girl at one of the local theaters, and he met her and came back, started dating her. He was from Bridgeport, Connecticut. So she always says when she married him, she thought that she'd wind up back in Connecticut. But he sank roots here, and he really invested in the town, and he spent most of that money on Main and Neville, building the theater and also McBee's, which we no longer own, but and also the Bear Building, which is the 4-story building center of town. So every single one of his children are kind of connected to the arts in some fashion. My brother is a playwright and director. He put on several shows at the theater. And my youngest sister was a ballerina. And both my sisters were dancers, but Missy is now like a very good songwriter. She's put out 4 albums. So our family was always very artistic, which actually mostly probably came more from my mother, but my dad really enabled it.
Yeah, that's cool. And passing the torch, but eventually, what's your plans? You going to pass the torch onward, or what?
I don't know if any of my kids are going to wind up, back in Beckley. They're all Danny's. My oldest son is at William and Mary in the MBA program. I have a daughter from my first marriage who lives in Kentucky. She's an MP, and then I think my middle son wants to teach history. He's very interested in Appalachian studies, and my youngest is going to be a dancer like her mother. So she's going to Radford in the fall. So I don't know that any of them will wind up here, but Heidi and I are here to stay. And we're very, like Jose, we really believe in giving back to the community and trying to help these things happen. But I mean, we struggle with population density, as you know. It's like we're kind of asking the same 200 cool people to come every weekend.
But they're really cool people.
They really are cool people, but it's just not, it's hard for them to come every weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of why, Jose came to me, this is the 4th show, right? Yeah. 2 years worth of shows. Came to me and said, really, Grant Building's kind of perfect for this. The left side of it, plenty of wall space, and it's kind of cordoned off into individual rooms. So give an artist each room. And these pop-up shows have been very successful because you can focus on getting the people to come, and it's just a couple weekends. So I think that's a good model for our kind of town.
I love it. I think people are going to really be intrigued with the story here. So let's do, final thoughts. Let's start with Matt first. So how would you describe Billy to people? We could do the whole cheesy 1-word thing, or, if you want to give a little overview on why someone should care about this story.
Well, I believe that the redemptive power of art is at the center of it. You've got a guy who committed 2 murders, who was a ne'er-do-well for most of his life, who even to the end of his life, I think, had a problem with brown liquor. But he's still created. He's still managed to make something bigger than himself. Like what you were saying before I was on, it really resonated with me. You live a better life if you make anything or you pursue anything. And this guy left behind a huge legacy that I don't even know that he valued.
Yeah. That's what I appreciate about it, is because so many, and like anywhere, anyone across the country can take a bad path. And it's obvious that's what happened here. But I think in Appalachia, too, it'll resonate because, there's a lot of people struggling, a lot of people going through different situations, and seeing how there can still be beauty involved in some form is really cool aspect of this. So,
and Patty mattered. I mean, Patty doesn't get mentioned much in the story. You got those paintings that you mentioned, but he marries her in 91 after he got out in 89, and he never went back. He never went back until he passed away. 2005.
I guess Patty's passed away.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I totally understand how sometimes it takes a good partner to whip you into shape. I'd be in pretty bad shape if it wasn't for Sugar Mama out there. Shout out. But yeah, that's good to know. Ella, what about you? What would you say your overall synopsis would be?
I would just tell you my perspective of all of it. When I first saw it, And he told me just a little bit, bits and pieces here and there. And I thought, okay, big deal, whatever. But then when I started paying more attention and I heard the stories, I just always felt like that even though what he did, he still had heart, and that he was probably forgiven for what he did. And that's just the way I look at it, because you look at him, when you're looking at the pictures, you look like, and you hear the story, you're thinking, oh, this is a hardened criminal and da-da-da, and I don't want to hear all this. But when you really hear the stories and you look at the art, he had a heart. I would have loved to have talked to him. I would have loved it.
Yeah. Well, and it's, I like the way you all are approaching, because you're not excusing what he did. I mean, we all know it's definitely tragic. But we are, it's a critical thinking thing of like really dive into what it means to be rehabilitated and to find your path. And, what about you, Benny?
Why don't you pull that paper out there? I got a Bible verse wrote on one of them. It's Matthew's.
Oh, we'll find
and read it for me there. It's on the big sheet there. It's
big sheet. Got it.
It's on the bottom of it.
Watch my fact finding skills
on that one.
Okay, we got
Matthew's a Bible verse. You see it?
We got leg. Oh, yep, I got it.
Read that for me.
All right, let me get. All right.
You can read the whole thing. You want to, or just read the verse?
Sure. Yeah. I'll read the whole thing. Let's go. This is called Billy and Baby. So it's a picture of Billy, and it has a little doggy on there. It looks like a little collie, maybe, or I don't know. Dogs.
I got old paintings of it.
Yeah. So it says Billy had a rough time growing up. He took a wrong path in life and paid for his mistakes, as many other people do. I am not the one to judge him. I forgave him for his past. Billy once said, if I didn't go to prison, I would have ended up working in the coal mines or would have never become an artist. Billy Foster's wife, Patty, was saved in 1996 at Healing Waters Church on a cold Sunday night. Pastor Jeff Floyd visited Billy and Patty quite often, and Patty did lead him to the Lord before he passed. And it ends with a Bible verse, Matthew 7. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? Amen.
Amen.
Benjamin Dunfee. Yeah, we just had a huge religion episode that I hope people still stick around after. But where we talked about that specific verse, and yeah, I think it's important to. I mean, at the same time, I'm curious, like, because how I kind of look at these things, because we deal with these things a lot. We talk about people being missing, people being murdered, and I deal with families. I mean, and I say deal with, it's not a problem. Like I enjoy helping these people. Obviously, it's sad. But I put myself in the perspective of them having lost their loved one and how tragic it is. And obviously, murder is, to me, it should never happen. It's inexcusable. But at the same time, if someone comes at you trying to kill you, the self-defense aspect, that's not murder to me. So that's kind of how I break it down. But I'm curious if you've ever had any of the family of the people that maybe he got into these altercations with reach out, or are they still around? Or
I don't know.
Never have.
Yeah, well, that's just how I feel. Everybody looks at things different, got a different out view, but that's just me speak from my heart. And I don't like to judge nobody. I've made faults. A lot of people made faults. I've done stuff I could have been in prison for. Good Lord just bless me. I've done wrong. I've done some crazy shit, done moonshine, done a couple things, But I strive every day to be a better man. And, I look down on nobody. I speak to everybody. I speak to the bum in the street. And if somebody's got something to say, I think you should listen to them. I don't care if it's a bum in the street.
Oh, yeah. Well, what a world it would be if people actually understood each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Is that possible? I don't know. I know it can be for me. That's all I know. But that's a lot of the show too. Like we'll have people from all kinds of different backgrounds come in, and like we'll have someone come in and talk about the Methodist Church versus we'll have a person who calls himself a witch come in, and we'll talk, and we'll kind of, and every time something pops up that is relatable, it never fails. And that's what speaks to me about this. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm sure people were hurting. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know who these people were and who got killed and all this stuff. You know, we can think about that too, while also trying to overall be better as a society. Absolutely. And understand each other. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I appreciate y'all coming in, and give me your final thoughts, Benny. Like, why should someone come out, see the artwork?
Well, I think my family's friends should support me. Like I said, I got 32 years in it, and I'm trying to do something positive with my life. You know, I didn't have an opportunity to go to school. I can't talk no more.
Oh, you're fine, man. You're fine.
Keep up. Speak from the heart.
Done.
You're fine. Listen,
brother.
Dude, you're one of the most unique people I've ever met. I'll just say that. And I mean that in such a complimentary way, because I think a lot of times people don't try to understand and talk. Like, let's just say I met you out somewhere. You being you know, on treasure hunts for a certain artist's artwork in West Virginia would be not the last, but the 1 millionth thing I would have guessed. And I think that's what's so cool about hearing this story, and then hearing about how you created the saloon and doing on all these in the church and all these cool things. I think it's really going to resonate with people. So regardless, like, you know.
Well, you know, I believe in supporting people, and then I think that my family and friends should support me on this. I'm not asking for much, you know.
Sure.
So, you know.
Yeah. Just respect and understanding. That's it.
You know, I don't care if you're into it or not. I mean, if you was my brother, my best friend, you collect fishing hooks, and I didn't like fishing hooks, I got to support you because you're my friend, man. You know, I'm going to show you love. I care about you. I like your passion for hooks, you know. You're doing something positive. You ain't out stealing, robbing, going to jail like Billy.
That's beautiful.
You know?
I love that. I'm sure we have people listening who's like, I got fishing hooks. Yes. Good to go now. That's awesome. Well, and swing the mic over to Jose there. He's not on camera, but I want to know Jose's final thoughts on Billy and why.
Well, like Matt mentioned, this story is about Billy, but it's also about Benny and the friendship, and that's kind of what we wanted to portray in the documentary. You know, Billy is gone. You know, he left behind some incredible work and some incredible stories, and he is lucky to have a friend like Benny who will continue to speak on him and keep his memory alive. And that's kind of the goal of this documentary, to show that friendship, to show that connection. And that's why we named it Promise Kept, because I truly feel that Benny has honored his friend. And you know, once you're gone, the only thing that's left is the memory of what you did, the things you left behind. And that's kind of what we're trying to show everybody. And it's an interesting story, and I think Billy would be very proud.
Yeah, man, this is beautiful. It's if everyone had a best friend like Benny, I think it'd be a much better place. Because you know, I'd like to think, you know, who knows when we're gone,
you know,
how people will remember.
I hate to hear somebody say I don't have time. You should always. Sometimes you need to make time for people. I don't care if it's 5 minutes, a phone call, or just drive by, hey, go on down the road. Don't be selfish, you know? I mean, you can do little things to change the outlook on somebody's life forever. You know, I've done a lot of stuff I don't want to tell you about. It's straight up good, like tipping somebody because they was working hard, like, you know, very well. And I could change that lady's whole life. She was from another country, and I just felt she was being abused at work. I mean, a little thing was working hard, and I didn't want nothing in return. You know, when you do something for somebody, you should expect something in return. You know, you got to do it out of the good of your heart.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah, you do it. You know, of course it feels good doing it, but you're doing it because, at least I do, is because I want to leave the world a better place than what it was when I came here.
Right.
You know, and that's a beautiful way to look at it. And I got a note here you handed me from Billy Foster's daughter.
Yeah, he never. I don't think he ever met his daughter.
No.
And I got hooked up with through Billy's work, and she come to my show in Parkersburg, and I think she will come to this. And you can read that if you would, please.
Yeah, for sure.
That's Mandy Morgan.
So Mandy Morgan sent Benny an email, or is this a text? I mean, it don't matter. I think it's a text. Yeah. So it says, or you wrote it to Mandy, is that correct? Or did she write it to you?
Replied back to him.
Gotcha. Okay. So it says, I often wish he would have known me or I known him. Wonder if that would have changed my outlook on life earlier or my need to be a people pleaser to the point that it almost destroyed me. But then the other side of my thoughts reminds myself that, and then it cuts off a little bit, but says no regrets, but sometimes it's hard to not wonder what knowing him would have been like. Benny Dunfee, you touching my heart. Well, look at that. Benny, that's a win. I mean, like, so many people. I mean, this is in a way allowing her to get to know him. You know what I mean? And
I gave her some nice pieces, nice prints that was hand signed by her dad.
mhm.
I only had a few sets of them, hand signed, like it was 9 in a set. Because when Billy got cancer, I'd go up there. He wasn't able to paint anymore or nothing, but I said, all right, Billy, every one you sign, I give you $1. You know, I was a coal miner, you know, I was like everybody else making ends meet, but every time he signs over him, I give him $1 for every one of them, you know, that helped him and helped me. But, you know, I haven't really made a lot of money this year. It's not even pay for itself. I ain't worried about that. I'm just, you know, like Billy, I want to be remembered as a good person and, you know, doing something positive instead of being
You should mention your ultimate goal.
my ultimate goal is like probably get a museum in Fayetteville because he was like born in Fayette County and he spent a lot of time in Fayetteville jail. So I would love to have a museum there. Then I could be there every day and talk about it. And then I can learn it because like only one time I ever had it all set up was in Parkersburg and I didn't get to stay there long enough to study it, you know.
Sure.
I was asked to leave. Another story. I'm not mad at him.
Yeah.
I don't stay mad. I mean, if me and you get into a fight, whatever, 15 minutes later, I want it done with.
Well, hopefully I can wake up after. Yeah. Yeah. Just try to give me some smelling salts.
Billy taught me well.
Yeah.
We do have some shanks on the premises.
Oh, yep. They are in a shadow box, though.
Let me tell you this one last thought.
Sure.
So we're down there. Billy's at one day, and I think it's the day we was toasting over the Prince and the ceiling fan and all that. So I keep drinking. I'm like, I got a little tipsy there. So we was like, all right, we're going to go over to buddy's house, Larry Bounty. Jose knows him real well. And Billy, you know, he said, he was talking something like, oh, you think you're a badass or something. I don't know. He had this. And so I'm like, no, not really, Billy. So we drive over to the bottom of the hill and I stopped the car. I don't know how it went down, but I stopped the car and I was scared of Billy, you know what I mean? Because he was a pretty good sized fella, a lot bigger than I was. So, man, when I got out the car, I hit him like a football, you know what I mean? Oh, that pissed him off, dude. So we get back in the car. He's madder than a hornet, right? So we get in the car. We're all good. We're driving up the hill. And from the bottom of the hill to up the hill right there, he done got him in plot, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know. I thought we was done. So we got out of the car. He hit me, put me down. And my buddy comes out and starts shooting the gun. Billy freaks out over a gun.
Right.
But it was all good.
Man, well, you need to write all this stuff down. Maybe you have been. I mean, what a book. What a book.
That'll be next.
Oh, with my life story, man. Like that picture I showed you,
Mm-hmm.
I got a life story would be the bestseller, the best movie ever hit. I'm telling you, I know from my heart.
Well, let's get it wrote down and come back and then we'll
Lot
talk
of work,
about it.
sir. I got a lot of projects. If I come on down and help me, we'll get her done.
Okay, and then give me a price on old Sparky down
Right.
there. Yeah.
Don't you have a print of that, Benny?
I do, but what I want to do, I want to donate you a nice portrait of the Sportsman Barbershop with a quote on the back.
Oh,
If you would like it.
man, I would love to put it up.
Okay,
I mean, yeah, man, that's really nice of you.
I'll hook you up.
Thank you.
Not today.
No, just
But you know, I got a lot of leather work. I told you I got guitars, Dawson, man, it's unreal. But I asked the guys to make this in prison. It says Luke Creek Art. Got my name. What's made in?
oh, nice.
It was made in Mount Olive.
A little leather. It looks like was that a
It had
wallet?
business card thing.
Oh, nice. That's
You
good.
don't have a picture of Sparky?
Benny, tell JD about
No,
Oh.
in there that you
Oh, you
could
had a
give
copy.
him.
Sparky. No, I'm gonna give a picture of the Sportsman Barbershop,
Okay.
a self portrait, limited edition.
Oh yeah. I mean, bless you,
We're
sir.
going big or go home.
I mean, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, yeah. What did you say, Matt?
Benny, tell JD about how he was backward and
About the eye contact.
Oh yeah. Because Billy, he didn't trust nobody leaving prison. I mean, he'd wake up at night screaming, and when Patty touch him, he'd flip out. So he didn't trust nobody. He'd never get no eye contact. So I'll take you out to eat and took him to Moundsville, where he was his home for years. And I told him one day, I said, Billy, I said, when somebody talks to you, you need to give them eye contact. Okay. I'm trying to teach him up. He's been locked up and trusted nobody. One guy that got on his chest, his buddy tattoo said, don't trust
No, trust no one.
no one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we're going on. I went down underneath the bridge, took pictures because he done my painting of my truck down by the bridge. So we went down and checked it out. But so we're down the road, and I'm like, he goes, how about a little eye contact, Mr. Ravenstein? He called me Mr. Ravenstein. That's my real father.
Oh, really?
The
Okay.
goldsmith, the jeweler. My dad was a jeweler.
Oh, cool.
And I went to school. Actually, I got laid off for a while, and I went to school being a jeweler, and I got pretty good at it.
Yeah. How come you never pursued it? Or did you pursue
I
it?
can tell
Do
you
you-
why, because he gave away everything.
Gave away everything?
the art business. I mean, being a jeweler.
Yeah.
Well, when I got laid off, I went to work for my father, right? Went to school, took a crash course at school, like 2 months in Arkansas. And so I go back there, I go to Missouri, got to get fitted up for 3-piece suits, man. I'm a coal miner, right?
Styling,
I can
son.
roll with it, you know what I mean? I
Right.
can roll with the best of them. And so I go there and I go to work. All my dad's friends like me and everything. I'm going to try to cut it short. But
Oh, you're fine.
anyway, one brother come in all the time, man. He was always, beefing with me, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you need to do your job. I'm doing my job. He was just jealous of me, man. And finally one day I said, I'm done. I said, you can have the whole store. I come here, I want to be loved and get love. Just like my dad said one time, he said, I'm going to give you the share of the business. I already seen the writing on the wall. I said, I'm good. I thought maybe, that'd make things a little better. But it didn't work out. So Dennis, he actually ended up running me off. I said, y'all can have it. I was just making minimum wage. I just took a death hang with that. That's all I wanted is spend time with my father. You know what I mean? That's all I wanted. So anyway, I quit, come back home, finally get my job back in the mines, that's what my goal in life was, to get enough credit in to get UMW healthcare, the best in the world.
Oh, yeah. Used to be 100%.
And so one time my dad come to my house, and I had a lady friend there with me. He looked at her and said, if Benny was stayed with me, he'd have been a wealthy man. I'm thinking like, buddy, I am a very wealthy man at heart, very wealthy. This is my thoughts. And I was thinking, how wealthy is your son Dennis, the one run me off? He killed himself with $1 million in the bank. How wealthy is he?
Oh, man.
I'm the wealthy one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade my heart for his $1 million or his way he treated people. It broke my heart how he talked to people when they come in the store. If they didn't, I seen people come and spend $100,000 one person, no problem, big time.
Sure.
But somebody coming there, some poor woman coming there like spend $100, he'd be like, "Oh, cheap bitch." I'm like, it just made me want to sink in my chair, man.
Sure,
You don't
yeah,
do
yeah.
people like that.
Sure. No, yeah, and then
But
I mean, for sure, I've seen to where enough to know. Like, of course, people out there struggling that can't pay their bills. That's a different thing. But you
Right.
get to a certain level with the bill collectors are at bay. That's really all you need, you know. And then you just focus on your family and your friends and doing what you love, and that's what life's about.
my
But-
mother always told me, the older you get, the less you need. I figured that out. But
Ooh,
you know,
that's a
when
good
I was
one.
a kid, I didn't have nothing. I would wear cardboard on the bottom of my shoes, pick up coal over the tracks, break ice in a water bucket, you know, for get water, just get my ice on. We was poor, but you know, I'm still blessed.
You may not have known though.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of money, but we didn't know it. I never knew it. My family was just, you know, everybody. Which we was, you know, it wasn't bad, but we just knew like Christmas was Christmas. To when today Christmas is like 3 times a week for a lot of kids.
You may tell you what the hitting the lottery's like.
What? Oh, you hit the lottery?
Yeah, when my uncle backed a coal truck up there about 20 ton of coal and dumped it out in my yard.
Oh,
I hit the
okay.
lottery. All the neighbors, we got real tight then.
You're good all winter if that happens.
It was good for many years, dude.
That house coal's what they call that.
Hey, I seen my dad and his twin brother my stepdad get on top of the coal cars to kick off coal, and we pick it up off the tracks.
Yeah. Yeah. We had a coal stove.
Good times going, bro. Good times are gone.
You cook on the top of it. We put different things. They try to make like little pans of cornbread and stuff right on top of the
You may
stove.
tell you what I ate for dinner many times?
What's
I'll
that?
tell you then and we'll let it go.
Oh no, we're fine. Hey, listen.
Many times, dude. You know, when we growed up with no deer populations down around that area.
Mm-hmm.
So we lived like on squirrels, muskrats, possums, coons, anything we get. When we sit down at the table, we didn't say we didn't like it. Hell, I liked it. You know, I've ate many muskrat. People say, "Oh, it's a vegetarian, it's a clean animal." I still go to these wild cook-offs they have. You know, there are places they have them, whatever they got a name for it. They have them down Montgomery sometime. But I go to them. I've ate beaver. Beaver's kind of funny. It's kind of sweet meat.
Mm.
But people say, "You ate possum, coon." I was glad to get it.
Yeah.
I mean, what you eating out of the store, boy? You know what you eating? No.
A lot of stuff.
You want to rag me out for eating muskrat, dude? What
Right.
the hell are you eating? I'm just saying. You know?
I don't know. Have you had McDonald's pink slime? It's pretty good.
Shaped like a nugget.
Yeah, all you gotta do is make it look like something. That's all you gotta do. Just squirt it all in a mold and hammer down.
I got to
son.
say, the good Lord's blessed me. If I die, the good Lord's blessed me. My motto is, I live by this. You do good things, you will have good things happen to you. I live by that, brother.
Heck yeah. That's a great way to end the show, y'all. This is a beautiful episode. I appreciate y'all being here. And everyone, before you leave, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Creepalachia on YouTube if you haven't already. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leave a review. Those reviews really help the show be found. I'm going to shake my man Benny's hand. Yeah. And yeah, we got a saying at the end. I got to wrap it up. Above all else, I know y'all can't see me, but long live Appalachia.